Okay, for those that don't keep up, this is Historic, which is the non-rotating format we have on Magic Arena. It encompasses all sets that have been legal on Magic Arena since it went into open beta, as well as these Historic Anthology injections that we're getting once per quarter. Today, we got our second Historic Anthology injection of cards. This build, the only new cards that it's playing, they added the playset of Onslaught Psycho Lands into Historic. So we've got a Tranquil Thicket, a Lonely Sandbar, and then a Barren Moor. But along with this update, they also elected to unsuspend Field of the Dead, while also they unsuspended Field of the Dead while also finally banning Oko, Once Upon a Time, and Veil of Summer in the format. So actually, looking at this deck list, when I'm thinking of what they added in the format, I was thinking Maelstrom Pulse is actually probably a decent card to have in our 75. It's probably better than these Noxious Grasp. So I think I'm gonna trim these Noxious Grasp and put two Maelstrom Pulses in my sideboards. This is another one of the cards that they added directly to Historic. From new cards from Theros, this deck, Field of the Dead, has not been legal since Uro was introduced. Uro, very natural slot into this deck, gives it a little bit more staying power against aggressive decks, while also being something we can escape back with Cavalier of Thorns in the mid to late game. So, really looking forward to seeing Historic develop overall. For people that haven't been keeping up with their plans for this format, we'll be getting a Pioneer Master set later this year on Magic Arena as the first step to eventually bringing all of Pioneer to Magic Arena, and all of the cards in Pioneer Masters will become legal in this format. Did the Historic ladder not happen again? I felt like the update had been going too smoothly. Is there no Historic ladder? Did they not hit the switch and flip that over? Did they forget to add Historic ranked back in? Is that like, there's technically a 2-hour patch window, so like, is that not getting flipped on until maybe it's like daily deals where it's an hour off? Yeah, I don't know. What's the deal? Wizards of the Coast? Bone Crusher is more ready than Arena. You're not wrong. Man, the stupid fridge. I already have all those. I mean, I guess I have a constructed event, but like, I'm gonna tweet at them really quick. Crus, thank you for the 12 months of support. Let's get your sword to go with that shield. Sorry, before I got distracted by the fact that the queue's missing, past Pioneer Masters coming to Historic. We're also going to get Jumpstart cards that are coming to Historic. We're also going to get, there's another thing coming to Historic too, right? Oh, Amonkhet Remastered. Yeah, that's the third one. Amonkhet Remastered is going to be coming. So we're getting 3 big card injunctions to Historic. So there's still a traditional Historic event here. The Historic event is supposed to be gone. And there's supposed to be ranked Historic play again. I take full responsibility for this issue. I praised Wizards of the Coast for their smooth updates for the last few patches. So naturally we had to have some kind of issue. What deck would you build off my website? I'd recommend watching the ones that look interesting to you and then building the one that you enjoy the most. I tweeted at them. Let's see if they're willing to respond to me. The deck has more lands than spells. I don't think that's true, right? I think we're at 29 lands. Oh, we're up to 31. No, you're right. We totally are. Yeah, I added more lands with the cycling lands. Try kicking it. I mean, we just downloaded the update. Kicking it can't hurt. Yeah, Red Black Titan is great. It's the deck I'm playing on Saturday. There was a Twitter command. It popped up a URL above you. There's just a lot of people talking in chat right now, so it wasn't immediately after your command. I assume Platinum Angel's not going to be a competitive card. That card tends to be more of a meme. Maybe Platinum Angel will be a real card if we get Madcap Experiment into the format. Like Madcap Experiment Platinum Angel could be potentially competitive in Pioneer. Or in Historic. Hey, Vicarian, thanks for the 14 months. Welcome back. Should I just jump into a Historic event? I guess let's just play a Historic event. Watch me join this and Field of the Dead not be legal. Okay, all right, so let me submit it. Are there people playing? Is it just me or Historic Anthology 2 kind of mad? It's definitely just you. I actually think the selection of cards in the Historic Anthology 2 is superb. Can you give me an example of cards you would include in the anthology yourself if you were in charge that you wouldn't consider meh? Alright, sweet. We'll get to see what these lands look like while they're in play. That seems great. Our opponents conceded. Here's hoping, Brain Pipe. I went in and cast my early ballot for Bernie this morning in Illinois. Well, I guess we don't get to see what the land looks like. Deck confirmed busted. Man! 31 lands, chat. 31. All right, there you go. You love to see it. You love to see it. The shufflers as rigged as the earth is flat, chat. Never forget. Never forget. All right, what are we doing here? Probably just like Drowned Catacomb tapped. 31 lands later, the Jeff Hoagland story, right? Waste not. All right. Oh, I bet these cards aren't in Deckmaster. Of course they're not. Well, shoot. I might need to make my Deckmaster forking a priority. Whenever an opponent discards a card, create a 2/2 black zombie if it's a creature. They get mana if I discard a land, and they draw a card if I discard a non-land card. All right, do these look good? Survey says. Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. They don't look like a Pokemon energy. I think that's sweet. I'll do it. Cycling a land will trigger Waste Not. Worth noting. Worth noting that if I cycle a land, I will trigger Waste Not. If you like the Pokemon energies, more power to you. I just think they look incredibly out of place. I'll do my best to mouse over and talk about these cards. I should be doing that anyways for people that are going to watch on YouTube in the future. So all the new cards on both sides, I'll try to do my best to talk about. hit our cheeky Nexus of Fate. There's one Nexus of Fate in this deck because this deck plays long enough games that you'll frequently run into the risk of decking yourself. Untapped land doesn't do anything. Have plenty of green, have double blue, so I guess I just get a life gain land. Worth noting here that even though I have 6 lands in play, I currently have 2 Woodland Cemeteries, so I only have 5 differently named lands. Would you replace Nexus with this deck if you didn't have it? I would recommend getting a Nexus of Fate. This deck is not playable without Nexus of Fate. Spend the Mythic Wildcard on it. You will lose a significant number of games not having a Nexus of Fate in your deck. You will lose games because you decked out without the Nexus of Fate. You need, yes, correct. You need it. It is not optional. All right, there are cards that you can budget. That is not one of them. There's Field of the Dead, land number 6. This is land number 7. I'm gonna go ahead and attack with Cavalier. Probably gonna cycle this Baron more, I think. We get like another Rejuvenator or a thing. This gives them 2 mana. Probably gonna end up discarding this. Virulent Plague is one we're going to want to keep on our mind. We have 2 Maelstrom Pulse on the sideboard, so we'll basically want to, like, always board that card in against black decks. Probably the trophies, too. Well, I mean, if they have something to do with the Mana Rex box, they could do it in my main phase or anywhere, right? So, like, it's my turn. It's not like I'm cycling this on their main phase. If they can play an instant speed spell during my main, they can play it inside of combat. Actually irrelevant. Yes, cycle lands enter the battlefield tapped when you play them. That is their downside to normal basics. So it's not as simple as you just like, okay, always. I think I just submit 0, or I can't submit 0, but I click it and then I decline. You can Erebos' Intervention Nexus. You cannot, Percy. It's been a while since people have played with that card, but again, remember, one of the reasons why Nexus of Fate is obnoxious is it's a replacement effect, not a triggered ability when it hits your graveyard. Nexus of Fate is never in the graveyard. It goes back into the deck immediately. It's one of the many reasons that card is offensive. You can Agonizing Remorse to exile it, that is true. That's a pretty good draw, chat. Don't mind if it does. Hey, Isabus, thank you for the very generous tier 2 resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Gosh, chat, it's been so long, but this really does feel like home. I think I lead on Uro here, because if I hit an untapped land in my 2 draws, I also get to Rejuvenator here. So gambling a little bit, but pretty likely to win on my gamble. Whee! Alright, so Miss didn't get to Rejuvenator. Found a Field of the Dead, though. Man, this deck is just not close against these kind of mid-rangey decks. You just gobble them up. This deck is incredibly satisfying to play. Love it. And, like, if they discard this, I get to escape Uro next turn. Spin. 2. Win. Don't mind me. Just getting some triggers. Scrying a couple of times. Whee! Anything that's not a land will bottom here. In fact, anything that's not like a useful land will bottom here. Yeah, I'm gonna bottom that. Just look like looking for utility lands at this point. Like that. It's a utility land. Whee! Uro is awesome in this deck. Triggers. Triggers. Yep. Risen Reef can stay right there. Risen Reef can stay right there. I'm gonna put this into play because I don't want them to make a zombie token. I'm not sure we'd be able to catch back up if they made a zombie token. Slaps the top of the deck. This baby can hold so many triggers. Yeah. Nom 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 nom. Oh, I've missed you, Yarok Field. I've missed you, Yarok Field. All right, trophies and Maelstrom Pulses in because they're probably packing Virulent Plagues. Disfigure out. Blue to Noob. Thanks for the 12 months of support. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield. Thanks for keeping me around. Usually you want to cut Arboreal Grazer in the attrition matchups. This is technically card disadvantage. Agonizing Remorse seems fine. They're a Croxa deck. We can exile that. None of the rest of these seem particularly useful, so we'll just leave one Grazer in. That's our first match of the day. Patch just went live at 10 a.m. We had to fix up some decks. What changes will you make for Nexus banning? Nexus is only banned in best of 1. Nexus is legal in best of 3 historic. The pop-up when you log into Arena today is not stellar. It does not indicate. I did a double take 2 when that popped up. I think I'm supposed to mulligan this. They're just gonna like chew these up, and like I don't have all my colors of mana. Yeah, I think this is fine. We're gonna keep this bottom Nexus of Fate. I have like a turn 3 play at least. Hopefully we can find a black source. If we find a black source that's untapped in our first 2 draws, we get to like Remorse into Uro, which sounds stellar. Lands look good. These are $12 in the store. If you want foil basics. Pretty basics. That was a perfect draw. Yep, in for lands. Yep, you can buy them with gems. 2,500 gems. So 1250 technically. For all 5, Sterk. Yeah, I'll put the tap line into play. Might as well. Centaf, I got for free Prime this month, so here's some Bezo bucks. Yeah, definitely. Bezo, Twitch Prime's the exact same to me or any streamer as a $5 sub, so if you got them, might as well use them. I'm gonna go ahead and ban the Murderous Rider here. Waste not. I mean, even with those cards you just listed, Hive Mind, this card tends to not be good. This is what I would describe as a fan favorite card. It is a build around that more casual players really like to try and make work, even though it usually doesn't. And in general, I think it's a good addition to the format. Just because, like, sweet cards that are built around should be good additions. So they've got just 3 cards in there for now, so that's good. We have 6 differently named lands here, so just waiting on a Field of Dead at this point. Viper Magus, thanks for the 3/4 of a year, welcome back. Cavalier of Thorns would be the best draw on our deck at this point, because it likely finds us a field, but then it also... Leyline of the Void, okay. Yeah. That means Uro's not coming back until we find a way to kill that. Alright, don't mind me. Don't mind me. Never forget, this stream was pre-recorded in front of a live Twitch audience. Need 1 more card in our bin for Uro. Double it up, chat. You love to see it. This leaves me double blue, double green, double black. We've got to rise up. Do, rise up. Don't mind me. Rise up, chat. We can do it. What if instead we killed your waste not? Sorry I destroyed your enchantment. Have a land. Yes, we get to play Pulse and Trophy, which is phenomenal. Yeah, basics look good. Basics look real good. That puts our 6th card in the bin, so we get to escape Uro and draw 2 next turn. Woo! Oh, chat. Oh, take me home, country roads, to the place I belong. Found my Yarok. Am a Risen Reef. Do. So I'm stacking my triggers like this. So this way, if Cavalier of Thorns finds a scry land, I can scry before I Risen Reef. Oh, value roads? That's so good. Wow. 31 lands, chat. There are 31 lands in my deck. And we just missed on a 5er. Like, holy crap. All right, is there a forest left in my deck? I believe there is. All right, we're gonna take that one. We also still have yet to find a Field of the Dead in the top half of our deck. So I'd like the record to reflect that we've been incredibly unlucky this game, and it just hasn't mattered. Whee! Rage add the 30-second land. You know it. I'm gonna hold on to some of these for now, because I would like lands for post Field of the Dead. How do I cycle it? If I drag this out, does it offer to let me cycle it? It does. Okay. Whoo! There we go. You'll love to see it. Flatmaid got sick and we're officially being quarantined. Thanks for the 21 months, Dougie. Stay healthy. Cycling is instant speed, but I had a land drop for the turn and wanted to play Field of the Dead if we drew it. I would like to introduce you to the king of the mid-range, chat. You don't outvalue this deck. You don't outvalue this deck. Now, I don't think that solves any problems we have, Cody. Like, you're right, it does stuff, but it doesn't fix any problems we actively have. We are one of the biggest fish. We are one of the bigger fish. I think I'm supposed to mulligan this. not having multiple green sources kind of sucks, and like there's no good 3-drop in this hand. If I knew my opponent was playing like mono red, I'd keep this, but in the dark, I think I'd play Catch and Release. Yeah, this is great. Bottom Yarok, actually, I think. How do you get the unstable lands? With your credit card. Or, for the record, there will probably be a Golos Field deck that goes over the top of this one. That's why we have Unmoored Ego in the sideboard. The question will be, if whatever Golos Field deck exists, will it be competitive against the more aggressive decks in the format? And good, this is good. I'm interested to see how our deck does against aggro here. It could be that we need Ritual of Soot in the sideboard. It could also be that, like, we're just going to be good enough making a bunch of zomboys and girls. So this is the litmus test for these decks. Like, the last matchup we just played, that was supposed to be easy for us, and it was. This is Field of the Dead too good for this format will largely revolve around how does it look against the aggro decks in the format. So I'm actually going to go ahead and play this Castle Vantress here, I think. Am I? I've got Uros. Now let's put this in tapped, huh? If I put this in tapped, I'm guaranteed to play 2 3-drops next turn. And if I don't, I might not. Yeah, Uro and Yarok are both potentially very good here. Opponent is going to hit... Huh? Do I just trade with these Sarahs here? I think I trade with the Sarahs, right? Or attempt to. Oh, no! Oh, that's totes how magic works. Oh, they're super smart and we're super dumb. Just fat, big, fat, and stupid. Fat and stupid, chat. Who's fat and stupid? I'm fat and stupid. Damage doesn't kill creatures, chat. State-based actions kills creatures, okay? Never forget. Damage doesn't kill creatures. State-based actions do. All right, so Cast Down, Trophy, Maelstrom Pulse, Extra Disfigure all come in here. This is probably a Risen Reef out matchup. This is Don't Be Afraid to Trim a Land or two. Arch of Orazca. We're not really looking to grind here. I knew that was going to happen. I just wanted to show all of you at home a very valuable life lesson on why you shouldn't block there. It was a teaching moment for me to teach you. Thanks for the very generous tier 3 resub, Top 2. I appreciate that. Welcome back. It's a good lesson, you know? Cause it's a sneeper keeper, do 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 do, sneep ba ba keep ba ba do 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 do. If you're not into keeping 6-landers, this is not the deck for you. Would recommend different deck if keeping 6-landers isn't your forte. All right, so am I disfiguring Pride Mape or Soul Warden here? Yes, yes is the answer. The answer to the question is yes. Got it? So part of the reason why I waited to disfigure till after recycled is so I could have a little bit more information like this. Fringe Devil, thanks for the 8 months. One of the reasons why I really like this build of Field of the Dead from back when it was standard legal was because of its ability to be interactive. Fringe Devil, thanks for the 2/3 of a year. I think there's a good chance this deck ends up being the best field variation in Pioneer. in large part, I need a second blue, right? Yep. In large part, due to the fact that its ability to be interactive is huge. Because a lot of these linear decks are going to be able to run down Golos Field. Whereas this deck gets to play Disfigure and Maelstrom Pulse and stuff like that. Which is quite excellent. Whatever fucking format this is, take a 10-minute break. Alright, still no Fields of the Dead, unfortunately. I'll drop Fabled Passage into play for now. Still an island in my deck, right? Yeah. I'll play one more land out for now. The roller coaster is my favorite part of the day, right? Opponent just conceding to Uro, deal. These young mods think that they're safe because they have a shield, but little do they know that the truth beetle. And again, think I'm happy with how we sideboarded. We trim a little bit of our value plan, basically, for a whole bunch of interaction here. And again, the reason, like, look at our deck. Our deck post-board is a Sultai control deck, right? We have 4 Disfigure, Cast Down, Trophy, Pulse. Like, we have 10 spot removal plus this, and then we finish with Field of the Dead eventually. Game for the content, stated for the political takes. You're a beacon of hope and criticism in dark and confusing times. Thanks for keeping me around, PCP. Yeah, I bought all the card styles, Gengar. There were a bunch of card styles for the new cards, and we bought them all with gold. All right, we kept 6 lands last game and we won, so I can only assume we're about to do it again, huh? Still no Disdainful Stroke foil. Still no Arboreal Grazer foil. Blast Zone is a keeper, right? Like, this card's probably very good here. Yes, damage doesn't kill creatures. State-based action kills creatures. So basically, your creatures don't die from taking damage. They die when the game says, hey, does this have enough damage marked on the creature for it to be lethal to the creature? And when the game went to check, should the Serras be dead, it said, hey, this is a 6/6 with 1 damage marked on it. It really is. It really is, Centaf. All right. So I can't currently Maelstrom Pulse the Pride Mate because of the Soul Warden. I think I'm going to play Blast Zone and pass here, is my plan. And then I'll chump block the Pride Mate, and then I will crack Blast Zone at the end of their turn. Is the plan, I believe. Which new land? This one? The Sandbar? So, again, I could crack the Blast Zone now to save myself 2 points of damage. However, I don't think saving the damage is important here. I'd rather wait to do this till the end of their turn, because waiting till the end of their turn means they can't play another 1-drop out this turn. So by using my health total as a bit of a resource here, I stop them from adding more pressure. And I don't really care that this gets bigger, because I'm gonna Maelstrom Pulse it next turn, right? So we'll go crack this, kill your 1-drops, untap, Field of the Dead, Maelstrom Pulse the Pride Mate. Well, now we'll do this, I suppose. Which figure? I'm sorry, you stuttered? Again, post board, we are a Sultai control deck, which is one of the appeals of playing this deck to me personally. It's very, very interactive. I have double blue, I have triple green, I have double black, so it doesn't really matter what I get here. Our best draw next turn is an Uro or an Elvish Rejuvenator. So we can put some extra lands into play. Opponent packs it up, packs it in. Again, just very, very clean example of why I like this deck. We got promptly run over in the first match there, but then we were able to appropriately pivot in the post-board games into being an interactive deck. When being linear with field isn't good, we get to be incredibly interactive. Nels, thanks for the 3/4 of a year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Do I think this deck has any bad matchups? Last time we played it, I didn't think so. I think it was like 45-55 at worst, which is one of the reasons I really liked it. You can always see the current deck list we are playing by typing !deck in chat to get a direct link to the deck list. The Holy Helix Fossil, thank you for the 31 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Yeah, so for people that don't know, one of the most frustrating things about Wizards of the Coast having me blacklisted is that their social media generally doesn't respond to my tweets, even when I tweet completely reasonable questions at them. So if people would like to tweet at the Magic Arena tag and ask them when the historic ladder's turning on, I'd appreciate it, because I don't really expect them to answer me because, you know, I'm on the shit list. Okay, we're on the play here, and we have a ramp spell, and we have Blast Zone, so we'll see if we're able to steal game 1 here against white aggro. You love to see it, chat. You love to see it. I am on, for people that are newer to the Magic community and my content, to quote a Wizards representative directly, the feedback I provide makes me a liability to work with. Or to be more specific, because I am critical of their products on occasion, they do not like to work with me. I wish I was joking. Or people, whenever there's new subs here that haven't been around for a while, they're like, wait, what? No, that's not a joke. It's not. I'm not kidding. That's what an actual rep told me. Hyper Ninja, thanks for the brand new tier 1 sub. I appreciate them. Welcome back. They work with the professor. So you have to understand that the professor is also on their crap list, but the professor is magnitudes larger than I am. Look at the number of YouTube subscribers that the professor has, and then look at the number of Twitch followers that I have. The Swamp is available in the store. For 2,500 gems, you get a full set of these basics. Thanks for the 14 months, Aaron. I appreciate that. Welcome back. My content is large, but I'm not quite work with me in spite of hating me large. Look at all these delicious 1-drops, chat. Sandbagging this Blaststone is going to easily win us this game. I said gems, not gold, Rainbow Road. So they were charging 3K gold for the Theros lands. These are only purchasable via gems. There's a good chance this is a concession Blast Zone. Oh, I technically just gave them life, huh? Yeah, whatever. We should make a command for the land. You're right. It's a good idea. Okay, in response to my Field of the Dead triggers, I'm going to blow Blast Zone here so they don't gain life. Bye, friends. I'm not playing with my food. I took the game theory optimal way here. I love drawing cards, chat. It's my favorite. Three of these here. The rest of these here. Wait, are they dead if I send everything at them? They might be dead if I attack them with everything, huh? Yeah, never mind. Alright, so again, even though we won game one here, still boarding like we did in the last one. Gonna be boarding in a slew of interaction. You cut Nexus of Fate against all aggro decks. This card is here for mid-range and control matchups where the game's gonna go long enough that you could risk decking from Cavalier of Thorns triggers. Bring in a ton of spot removal, and even though the Arc was okay there, Arc comes out. Actually, would I rather cut Arc or would I rather cut Field of Ruin? They probably play Castle, and they probably have the Outpost, so I think I'd rather have Field of Ruin. Killing their lands might be relevant here. All right, let's do it. We beat the last white aggro deck we played against. We are playing against it a second time here, and we are currently up a game. I think I'm supposed to mulligan this hand on the draw. I think even though the colors of man, maybe I'm supposed to keep it because they mulliganed. I'm on the draw, I have a scry. There's some appeal to mulliganing for Disfigure or Grazer, or mulliganing to Disfigure, Grazer, or like a cast down. I'm up a game. I'm going to keep this because I'm up a game and have a scry. Historic rank is up after you refresh. Great. To remove creatures from combat land. I forgot about that one. That might be worth playing. It's just you. That's how the rules of Magic work, Grant. You are a knight, Jiffafish. So, Talia, Guardian of Thraben here, one of the newly added cards. This is a 2/1 that makes non-creature spells cost 1 more. Real question here on whether or not I think I'm just playing a 2/3 out here. I don't think I want to not use my mana this turn. Although, like, there's no guarantee I have a play next turn if I play this, so maybe I'm supposed to just take the hit. Yeah, this is the downside to playing this out. Is if they have Heliod, it just doesn't block. Could just get run down here because my start was slow. Like I said, there's a good chance this hand was supposed to be a mulligan. Okay, that's an Assassin's Trophy. That's a good pickup. We'll play basic. I'm gonna play Woodland Cemetery here because this way, if we draw or Hinterland Harbor. It doesn't really matter. I want to play a green source this turn, because this way if I draw Cavalier of Thorns next turn, I can cast it. This is the TLDR. So let's kill Linden here. which shuts off Heliod. Also means they don't gain life when they attack. What is the correct Unmoored Ego target against Kisa's combo? It depends on what their board state and graveyard looks like. There should be mouse over text that tells you what the difference between those things are. If I recall correctly. Probably dead here. Although I guess they didn't put a counter on this, so I can block here with Yarok, which is great. Yeah, it's been sweet so far. I think we're 2-0 in matches played. Looks like we're about to go to game 3 here, though. Yep. And like I said, I think this hand was probably supposed to be a mulligan. This deck that we're playing is very good at winning with very few resources, just because its lands generate advantage, so should probably mulligan more aggressively than I did there in that second game. Having the right cards is more important than having more cards on most of the time with this one. Me too, Waterfalls. We're up to 1,300 people in here for Historic 2. You love to see it. Zulish, thanks for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. My plan moving forward is to do 2 Historic decks per day for the next week. And then whether or not that will continue to be the number I do is going to be determined by what the viewer counts look like and what feedback's like from subs and how many deck submissions we have. So, as always, like to adjust myself based on data coming in. Yeah, I think I can keep this on the play. I've got a Scryland, and I've got an Uro. I've got a Cycle Land too, so like I've got a little bit of selection. I've got a mystery card. I think this is fine. I like the current standard format, but standard submissions have slowed down a good bit. We're in like kind of that natural lull point in standard, which is why introducing new historic cards at this point in the cycle is very smart on Wizards of the Coast part, in my opinion. I'm gonna go ahead and cycle this now, because I could draw an Arboreal Grazer. Perfect. Let's go ahead and play this. And then we'll Uro, drop Field of the Dead into play. Yeah, someone else said Historic Ranked was up. Awkward. Okay, so now I need to put Breeding Pool into play because I should have been thinking about this. So now I can't, if I put Field of the Dead into play there, I wouldn't have triple green to cast this next turn. If this finds an untapped green source, I can Grazer in Field of the Dead this turn. I already have a Woodland Cemetery. I think I'm just supposed to take Field here. 2, 3. This would be land 6. This would be land 7. I think I'm supposed to take Field of the Dead here. Was that a misclick? Oh, they're just giving it protection. Sure. They're just giving it... They're doing this so that way they can gain life. That makes sense. Alright, so if I do this, it makes a zombie friend. And then we do this, it makes a bunch of zombie friends. Then we get to crack this fetch land to make some zombie friends. Before we do that, I want to escape this. Yeah, I'm gonna Rider the Sarah later. I'd rather do this first. I think I can chump block the Sarah. I don't think I really care if they gain life. I guess we could get punished if they have a Johnny, but they're only on 2 lands, right? So I feel like I don't have to play around that right now. Magic Dexter. I would be happy to add Yarok Field back into the queue with that. Thanks for the support, I appreciate it. Yeah, if they had 3 lands, I think I'd be a little bit more defensive here, but with them only being on 2 lands, I get to, like, even if they gain life here, I get to, like, kill this next turn and then attack them for a bunch. So, like, it's, like, not a big deal. Let's make some zombie friends here at the end of turn. Bye, Felicia. One of the other things this archetype has really going for it, too, while you definitely get run over... While you definitely get run over by aggro sometimes, this deck is incredibly consistent, which is great. Oh, you know what? Someone said... Ranked Historic was up. I wonder if this queue is dead now. This queue's probably dead now, and that's fine. We're 4-0, right? Now, we're not done playing Yarok Field by a long shot, but... Are there really tooltips on these? And neither of the tooltips say best of 1 or best of 3? This one says best of 3. This one says, wait. These say best of 3? Like, this doesn't even say best of 1. It was really funny the other day. Christy was home and she was hanging out talking while I was getting ready for the next day. And just like the things that she was sitting there pointing out that were missing or things that she thought seemed unintuitive with the deck editor, thanks to the 21 months early and wins, really makes me think that they don't actually put their user interfaces in front of real people. Hey, thanks for the half a year, Steven. I appreciate you keeping me around. Like, the number of things that, like, my wife, who's, like, basically never seen the client before, sat there and pointed out, like, it's just, like, it was kind of unreal. It's just, like, do they not, like, put every interface they design in front of someone who's never looked at it before and just sat there and listened to what they say it's missing? Like, or what's expected? Like, that's what you're supposed to do for interfaces, right? You're like, but like, I'm not an interface developer, but I'm a back-end programmer when I do software development. But I'd imagine part of user testing is like sitting there watching people use it, right? That's what it should be, at least, I'd imagine. I think I keep this even though it doesn't have a black source. It's got 2 cycle lands in it as redraws, and we've got decent 3-mana spells here. Wouldn't they fire that person for giving them criticism? That's true. It's very possible if that's the case. They had that job, and they fired the people because they were critical of the interface. Thanks for the 15 months, Cooler. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I'm going to shock this in and cycle the Lonely Sandbar here, I think. Won my first match with Yarok Field. It's sweet. Really missed this deck. Thanks for the biddies, Dr. Jones. I agree. I also like that this deck is legal again in this format, just because having something like this be legal in Pioneer, legal in Historic, but not legal in Pioneer, gives this format some texture and differentiation between the two. Looks like our opponent is playing Nexus of Fate here. They just been to Nexus with this. So this is a matchup where we're probably going to struggle game one. Like, this format will likely eventually be positioned as, like, this format's vintage, essentially, which I think is a good thing. Eventually, this game will have Pioneer in it, and Historic will still be something worth playing if it's distinct in a number of ways. Field of Rune's a great grab here because of our Search for Azcanta. Would you like to bounce my ramp spell? Thanks. I appreciate you. Alright, so we'll go Hinterland Harbor into Uro, put a land into play untapped, into Elvish Rejuvenator. I appreciate you, but I take back all those bad things I've said about you. Okay, they've stumbled enough that we might have a shot here. Maybe. Their stumble plus our Field of Rune and Blast Zone might give us enough play here to be okay. Yeah, I've got Disdainful Strokes, Agonizing Remorses, Unmoored Egos. I have a ton of tools for matchups like this in my sideboard. I just clicked through my attack step by mistake. Well, you know. Whoopsie, whoopsie, poopsie. Yeah, doing them a kindness for bouncing a ramp spell. Yeah, exactly. This is still, doesn't flip till 7.
Don't worry, I got this.
If they have a fog here, we could really get punished for that missed combat. Nah, I think getting the land into play so it's untapped next turn is more important, Tumos. The volume of zombies I make here isn't going to be super relevant. It's hard to know for sure. So, like, blue-green definitely plays fogs. They're banned, so they might not have fogs in their deck. Disfigure out. Murderous Rider out. Remorse in. Stroke in. Trophy in. Unmoored Ego in. Probably Pulse in, honestly. Arc is probably a card we don't mind trimming here. They're pretty linear. Hey, Scap. Thanks for the 2 months. I appreciate you re-upping. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. The Nexus play 28-ish land. So people that are making assumptions about my opponent's archetype, you need to understand that Historic is not a particularly well-defined format. So there's lots of variation in what these decks are playing. So in general, try not to make assumptions about, like, what your opponent's playing or not playing with any certainty. Is it crazy to trim Arboreal Grazer here? I feel like I'm just not racing, right? I need to be a little bit disruptive to win on average. Well, they showed us Nexus of Fate, Rexbox. They have Nexus. I think there's a bug. I definitely have a sleeve assigned to this deck. We'll see what happens when we get in game. I definitely assigned a sleeve to the deck. Man, I feel like I guess you kind of have to be stupid to be a Republican at this point. Like, the number of people that are, like, responding to a pandemic might convince people that they need Medicare for all, that they think if we had Medicare for all, everyone would be showing up to the ER. It's just like, that's not how it works. It just means that people who need to, stupid or cruel. Yeah, that's true. That's true. There's some smart people that are just evil. Just brutal people that don't like others and want to be brutal to them. That's a fair assessment. Never forget the evil part. Not guaranteed stupid, could be evil. Never forget, I love it when you critique my plays, but if you critique my plays without providing any logic for why you think my play was wrong, you're gonna get a really quick 10-minute break on this stream. When you critique my play without providing logic or reasoning, you're basically just saying, hey, Jeff, you're stupid. You should have done what I did. That's not really welcome here. So, Bacon, the problem with that is, while they're working with insurance companies to help people who have insurance, what about the people who are uninsured in the United States? There's like 13 million people who are uninsured. Since Donald Trump took office, the uninsured rate has risen from 10 million Americans to about 13 million Americans. I mean, in every other first world country, every person in that country is in line at the end. So what you have to understand, Stiflex, is that, like, people who are still Republicans or conservatives at this point, you can't refute what they're saying with logic or facts because they live in a fact-devoid world. Actual reality is divorced from what they believe in. Doc Prof Foxbeard, thanks for the 14 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Walmart and McDonald's are giving employees PTO, sick leave. They can do it now. They can do it all the time. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? So, opponent only has 3 cards in their graveyard now. So, like, we've entered the part of the game where, like, it's kind of annoying playing against the Nexus deck, but, like, it's not the end of the game just yet. The new lands look really good. Super happy with them. Well, that's incredibly rude. Yeah, I agree, Drunk Owl. Yang endorsing Biden. I pretty much have no respect left for anyone other than Bernie, who ran in the Democratic primary. If I switch my normal sub to Twitch Prime, I don't lose my streak, do I? So long as you resub within, I believe it's 7 days, you don't lose your streak. I believe we're probably dead at this point. I think I'm just going to concede. I can't hold up this Disdainful Stroke, and this is going to flip, plus they have Tameo. So once the opponent has multiple ways to generate card advantage, you're likely to lose. Yang actually endorsed Biden. Biden is by no means guaranteed to be the nominee. The corporate news media wants Joe Biden to be the nominee, so they are pushing this very defeatist attitude like he is the only one that can actually win, when in reality, he's only collected 800-ish of the 1,900 needed delegates. He isn't even halfway. When Bernie was ahead, they made it out to be not a big deal. as when Bernie gets behind, they make it out to be like he's impossible for him to win. They stand to lose a lot of money if Bernie Sanders is the nominee. How many delegates are left? Like half or more, from my understanding. I don't have an exact number offhand. I believe it's over half still, though. Yes, Yang proved that he's not different from people currently in Washington. Yang proved that he's someone who is there to wheel and deal and trade in what I thought were his values for some political gain for himself. If you're only progressive when it's politically advantageous to be progressive, you're not progressive, you're just a dirty politician. That's the reality. Thanks for the work that you do. Your stream and YouTube helped me chill out a bit through a rough patch. I wanted to show you appreciation. Let's get Red White Angels up in the queue. Definitely, Dr. Mr. Punny. Thanks for the big biddies. I appreciate the support. All right, what are we doing with Agonizing Remorse? Stream Decker probably won't have export buttons today for decks that have the new cards in them, because Stream Decker has to add them to their list. I think I'm just taking Uro here. Let me ping the Stream Decker now, in fact. All right, so they drew the untapped land here. It's a little unfortunate. I guess we just put Tranquil Thicket into play. Correct. It doesn't have the Arena Export button because the Arena Export button on Stream Decker only pops up on deck lists that are flagged as being supported on Magic Arena. And whatever on the back end is done, they obviously haven't integrated the historic anthologies yet. Yes, Warren has also shown us that she doesn't believe in her progressive values. She was just putting them on because she thought claiming to have progressive values was her way to get more votes. All right, so I think I just pass here, and then hopefully next turn we draw an untapped land. We're gonna Field of Rune this, Disdainful Stroke them if they draw a land, and then untap and Unmoored Ego them. No, Warren was not always shooting for in the middle. Part of the reason why I landed on Bernie instead of backing Warren was the first person I sent money to in this campaign cycle. Warren adjusted her plans and where she stood in the primary when she realized she couldn't beat Bernie in the progressive lane. She changed her values and what her platform was running on when it became politically convenient to do so. I sent money to Pete, I sent money to Warren, I sent money to Yang, and then eventually I've landed on Bernie and I've sent him a few donations. Yes, if your values change because of the polls, those were never your values to begin with. Agree. Alright, so we're gonna start by naming Nexus of Fate. And we'll take a look at their win conditions, and depending on what their win conditions are, we'll dictate what we take with the second one. So they have Uro. They have Uro, and they have 5 mana Teferi. That's it. Is that it? Uro and 5 mana Teferi? So we'll ego Uro, and then we'll hold up Trophy for the Teferi. Oh, they have 2 disputes here. Whatever. I think I need to get through these at some point. Well, they hit their arrow. Really need to draw a green source here so we can play Cavalier of Thorns. If we get a green source for Cavalier, we could be in an okay spot. Okay, the good news is we can escape Uro next turn, so that's nice. Oh, maybe I'm supposed to kill this. Am I supposed to kill this? Maybe I'm supposed to kill the Tamiyo there.
Let me aid your research.
Yeah, without them having Nexus, I'm not sure that we really get outvalued here. The second ego did not resolve. They still have Teferi in their deck. Well, I mean, if I kill 5 mana Teferi, Tamiyo picks him back up, so I should probably just kill the Tamiyo. I have enough mana here to scry at end of turn, so hopefully we can find an untapped green source with that. And I think I'm actually okay putting a Cavalier into my bin here. Because, like, they do have a Shatter here. I really like the mental gymnastics you have to go through to paint pivoting on issues when you realize you're not pulling well to that's a good thing. It's just wild. I'm gonna just give you a 10-minute break. That's like some Republican level mental gymnastics right there. It's good. It's a good thing. It's a good thing you're gonna get plenty of exercise with that, even without going to the gym.
I know I noted this somewhere.
They are down to 18 cards in their deck here. Yeah, we basically need to just make sure we can deal with their Teferi so they can't, like, sit there and self-tuck him. I mean, we know they only have one Teferi in their deck. Nivir, thanks for the 25 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. There's still a Nexus in my deck, right? We could in reality take all the turns against them at some point here. of them. There's 10 cards in my bin. Do I escape this? I think so. How do you win the Yarok mirror? I mean, I can't tell you how to win the Yarok mirror. If I tell you how to win the Yarok mirror, how will I beat you when we play? Come on now. Can't expect me to give away all the secrets. Be the first. That's probably true. Racing to get your Nexus of Fates online is probably a good call.
Let's skip to the good part.
I should have looked and seen what counterspells they had in their deck when we egoed them. I don't think they had that money. Keep coming back for Historic. Thanks for the feedback, Hiromic. Hoping to do a lot more Historic between now and when the next standard set drops. I assume they're going to sweep the board here, but if they sweep the board, I get Unmoored Ego back? Maybe this will convince you to reveal your secrets. Maybe. Are they dead? Let's see here. They block this. They take 5, 10. So this is 14. They're dead, right? I fetch with this and then I attack for lethal. Right? Because this is 18 from zombies. This is 23. We're two over. They could have a fog, but I don't think I saw fogs in their deck, so let's find out. Yeah, I'm in for Blast Zone. That kills Teferi eventually. Yeah, I don't think I saw Settle. We'll find out. Gengar, thanks for the 20 minutes. I appreciate that. Welcome back. And you did. Ads are a good reminder to renew your Prime. It's beautiful. Do. I love this deck. This archetype is just, it's my jam, chat. It's my jam. Morning, Paula. We've not, Prime. We have 2 copies of Maelstrom Pulse and 2 copies of Assassin's Trophy. This deck is also, this deck is more capable than ever of winning matches without Field of the Dead or zombies as well with the addition of Uro. It was not uncommon when this deck was standard legal to win games through losing all of your Fields of the Dead. Gosh, could you imagine the absurdity and the scramble that would happen for the general election if, like, Trump died from COVID? Like, there would be an unreal scramble, right? A Newburn Clown. Thank you for the 10 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I'm going to cycle this, because I'm looking for a blue source since we drew another land. Perfect. Yeah, we get to cast Risen. We get to curve out with Risen Reefs here. Looks like we're playing against Nexus of Fate again. Outside of your queue, do you know any other places to find historic decks? Just viewer submitted things, Ohio. There's no large historic events to track things from. Again, this is kind of a good example of what I was talking about earlier. Don't be afraid to mulligan with this archetype. This archetype is really good at unmulliganing through card advantage. It's about having the right cards, not a high quantity of cards most of the time. It's a big mana deck in a way, Tron player. This deck's more interactive than Tron is on average, though. We could still lose this game very easily. Like, we don't have an incredible amount of pressure. So, with this draw, I think I start here and then Risen Reef. So we currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 differently named lands in play. This is differently named land number 6. So we're looking for a 7th land that we don't currently have for this Risen Reef. Field of Ruin is perfect because it even interacts with them here. So we're going to start generating zombies this turn, and we're adding more interaction to the board. So I think I like our shot here now. Oh, yeah, they totally are. I don't know if they're streaming now. I'm not sure if I have them on my follows. I've definitely hosted them before, though. You would have Reef first because it played around Dispute. Disagree. I think Reefing first and playing around Dispute there is incredibly incorrect. I think Elvish Rejuvenator first gives us the highest probability of being able to... trigger Field of the Dead that turn, and triggering Field of the Dead that turn is very important. Because we need to get pressure into play to end the game. How old is Romney? Today is Mitt Romney's birthday. It was on the radio station I was listening to this morning. They do a relevant people birthday thing. He's 70-something. He's also ancient. '73. The reasoning for banning once in Modern makes my hopes for Pod even more. Maybe. All right, so they're on the fog every turn or combo us or die plan from here. Ooh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gosh, we're one land short of nexusing them. That's unfortunate. So I want to hold up Murderous Rider and Field of Ruin this turn. I think that's important. They're going to try and go off next turn most likely. This is all the interaction we have, so we just need to hope it's good enough here. This is card number 5 in their bench. There's still 2 cards off of Search for Azcanta flipping here. If they give us another turn, Nexus of Fate probably lets us win. They need double fogs at that point. Yeah, being able to both kill Tamiyo and Azcanta here could mean they don't get around us. NHL about to announce suspending the season like the NBA did. Good. People were asking me if I was feeling better today. The World Health Organization making their announcement and Trump starting to take it seriously and all these big orgs canceling things actually makes me feel a lot better. Part of the reason why I was stressed out yesterday, in addition to the primary going kind of medium at the moment for Bernie, is that I really felt like a lot of places weren't appropriately taking action with COVID. I'm glad to see both private orgs and the government stepping up a little bit.
I would like to test a new hypothesis with you.
In fact, I would heavily encourage anybody out there who has plans to go to any big event that hasn't been canceled that you should probably do the personally responsible thing and cancel those events. If you're a Democrat, the stock market tanking should make you happy. Unless you're about to retire, in which case, rip you. The stock market tanking is one of Trump's only positive things a lot of people have to say. So hopefully that helps bury the bigot. They're fogging during my upkeep here. That's fine. I'm going to Nexus of Fate them. Yep, upkeep, whatever. I'm going to go ahead and do this during my upkeep. I'm doing this during my upkeep so I have a chance to redraw it this turn. Yeah, they canceled Magic Fest Detroit. They canceled the SCG tournaments. They canceled the upcoming Nerd Rage events. It's one of the sponsors on the stream. All the Magic folks did the right thing. It would be incredibly irresponsible to go on a cruise at this current point in time. And actually, the cruise industry is one of the ones that's really been awful. They've been offering incentives. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them have been offering incentives to people to still go on their cruises, and that's just terrible. I feel like it will be easy for Trump to deflect the stock market because of COVID. Maybe, but you have to understand, like, if Trump gets to take credit for the upward trending economy he inherited from Barack Obama, he also gets to own the downward trends that aren't his responsibility as well. I agree that the stock market would have issues regardless of who is president right now, but Trump tried to take credit for things that weren't his responsibility, so he also gets to own this too, in my opinion. All right, what are we doing? So how did we board last time? I trimmed these. Those are the easy cuts. All of these cards come in. What are my last few trims here? I think Murderous Rider comes out. Then I trimmed a Yarok, I think. Seems good. I think that's about what I did last time. Did I mulligan this in the dark? Yeah, it's got Maelstrom Pulse. I'm gonna keep this with the Pulse in the Cycle Land. Yeah, we were talking about schools closing earlier. This is the one, the non-Americans in chat, you'll be appalled by this one mostly, I'm sure. The struggle that a lot of people from outside the United States don't understand is that one of the issues with canceling school in the United States over something like this is that the United States, naturally being one of the wealthiest countries in the world, there are a lot of children who only get a decent meal at school every day. So part of the issues or things they have to consider when closing the schools is some kids don't get to eat if they close the schools. So they have to balance feeding children with preventing a public health crisis. It's one of the many incredibly offensive things about the United States and the current capitalistic nightmare which it is a part of. All right, I think I'm supposed to just hold up Stroke this turn. I think I'm just like, I could play this and play this, but I think it's right to hold up Stroke going into 4 here. If you're healthy and have the time to be quarantined, why is it irresponsible to go on a cruise? Because cruise ships are like one giant petri dish, and if one person gets sick on that cruise, it is incredibly likely that most people on that cruise will end up sick. That's why it's irresponsible. You could also be sick and not know it, is also the case. Someone else going on that trip could be sick and not know it. There are a lot of factors.
Let us see if your talents are worth cataloging. The past is never forgotten.
Tameo doing Tameo things. I probably want to pulse her, right? Oh, I guess if I sequence Rejuvenator before this, I get 2 more zombies. That was loose. Yeah, if I had sequenced this differently, I'd have an extra 2/2 in play right now, which is kind of a big deal. Yarok. I think I'm actually bottoming Yarok here. I don't think the extra pressure it generates here is relevant, and I'd rather look for a piece of interaction. A discard spell, an Unmoored Ego, a Disdainful Stroke, etc. Even a trophy or a pulse would be good. Field of Rune, etc. So again, even if they start taking turns here, it's like kind of annoying, but it's not like the end of the world because they don't have a sustained source of card advantage in play just yet. Oh, they have Ghost Quarter. Forgot they added this card. Forgot they added that one. I don't actually know if Ghost Quarter is that much better than Field of Rune. How much Nexus has there been? I think this is our 6th or 7th match. It's our 2nd time playing against Nexus. I don't actually think Nexus is that busted in this format. I think there's a lot of good aggro decks. Nexus is incredibly good against Field of the Dead decks, though. So while people dirtle with decks like ours, we could see more of it, most likely, I think. Okay, now there's a Tameo. Remember when I said I missed a 2/2 last turn? The fact that I'm short a 2/2 means I can't kill her in combat next turn. Oh, do they have another Nexus and it doesn't matter? Nexus is banned in best of 1 historic. It is not banned in best of 3 historic. I think I'm supposed to lead on this because it could draw a piece of interaction. Yeah, wow. The fact that I messed up my sequencing and missed a zombie here could be the entire game. Like, if this Tamio was off the table, they'd be at actual empty here. And now she's gonna, like, plus and find them a Nexus of Fate, and I'm just gonna get buried. Yeah.
Seek and find.
All right, swing and a miss. Good beats, good beats, good beats. What's this card do? Okay. Now, search for Azcanta is scary. Search for Azcanta means I need Field of Ruin, like, right now. The good news is I get 5 looks at Field of Ruin, so I got that going for us. All right, so again, for people that aren't familiar with the opponent's archetype, it is incredibly unlikely that we get another turn here. Our opponent's going to flip Search for Azcanta, and they're going to get an activation of it, so they get 5 looks at Nexus of Fate here. Stupid fridge, chat. And they also get 6 looks, so they get a look at during their upkeep too here. So they get a look, a draw step, an activation. Wow, they actually, if they draw a land here, they actually have enough mana to activate twice. They have 35 cards in their deck, so they're not a lock, but they're incredibly likely. All right, and there's an Arset, so this gives them 4 more looks. Well, if they don't have a land TZ, they don't have enough mana to cast Nexus. So they need to hit Nexus here, which they did. So again, this is how this works. They had nothing in play. So again, if you're gonna make a card wreck, especially, you know what, I'm just timing you out. If you have a sword and you make a lazy or bad card recommendation, expect to take your 10-minute break. You're not new here. Remember that card seems good in your deck is never a good reason to recommend we play a card. Identify a problem, suggest a solution. If my opponent takes another turn this turn, I'm going to concede. And again, remember, this whole thing snowballed because I missed a zombie. If I had had a zombie, we would have killed their Tamio, which would have kind of set back all of their setup this game. I got you, Steric. I live to please. Okay, that's still not a Nexus of Fate, so they get 4 more looks here. I mean, to be fair, Fish, actual viewer count doesn't really impact my revenue in a significant way. So, like, it's nice to have a bigger number of viewers, but it doesn't really change things. One of the things that's really weird about this job in kind of a good way is that when the viewer count fluctuates, my sub count doesn't really move that much, which is nice. There's a lot of people that appreciate what I do and they sub even if they're not here quite as often. So to give you a metric on how varied ad revenue can be, from December to January, in January, I had 40% more watch time, I think it was, and I made 25% less ad revenue because it's just not consistent. When I do my little quip when people sub and say thanks for keeping me employed, That's just me being honest. I wouldn't be here without subscribers. Your YouTube is the best of any streamer I've seen. Yeah, and I think the YouTube's part of it. I do a good job of archiving everything, so even when people take a break from catching live, they're still checking in over there. Not another Pyro. Thanks for re-upping that Prime for the 2nd month. Speaking of. And Staninger, thanks for the 2/3 of a year. Welcome back. All right, with Jungle Hollow, we just drop that into play, and then hopefully next turn we ego them. Moving into full control still doesn't prevent the client from skipping your end step, even when Feather gives you your instance back. Yeah, that's expected, Renegade Shep. You need to put a stop there. Gazi MTG, thanks for the 14 months. Okay, with the 2nd ego drawn, I think we're just on the YOLO plan here. Yeah, Killadub, someone I've hosted a couple of times. They're also streaming right now if you want to watch this match from both sides. Vanu, thank you for the very generous tier 2 resub. Welcome back. I appreciate the 11 months. No, you always name Nexus of Fate with the first ego. Just take the card that lets them combo kill you. I appreciate the upgrade, Vanu. Be sure to take a peek at the deck queue and let me know if there's something there you'd like to bump up. Tier 2 support me a little bit extra so they get to bump something in the queue every month. If they have a 2nd dispute, this is sad, but I think we just need to get this in sooner rather than later. Someone linked their Twitch earlier. I think it's the real Killadub or something like that. It's different from their Twitch, their MTGA username here. So don't click the last card till you've looked at their deck. When you click the 4th copy, your spell resolves. They have Brazen Borrower. Is their win condition literally a Brazen Borrower? Okay, yeah, fair. So they have some Fogs. They have Mystic Dispute in terms of interaction. They have Aether Gust. So Aether Gust Dispute, and what's it called? Yeah, Tamio technically rebuys the Borrower. But yeah. Oh, they're actually not currently streaming. Okay. Someone had linked it earlier and said you could watch the other side. So it's normal game 1 for these decks to only have 1 win condition, but usually they diversify post-board. Usually post-board, especially against blue-black decks. Usually, I think I'm supposed to play Cavalier here. Or maybe I'm supposed to hold the Cavalier for now. Yeah, I'm just going to pulse. So I'm going to wait on a turn with the Cavalier, because if I Cavalier and find a Field of the Dead this turn, they'll get to kill it before it makes zombies, which I think is not ideal. I think it's right to kill this just because they have Castle in play. Yeah, that's true too. Agonizing Remorse is a staple discard spell. Most of my black decks in this format, even in Standard, have 4 main, and that card exiles what you target with it. I feel like, especially in their deck playing Growth Spiral, not having any copies of Uro is a little strange. Like, it feels like a pretty low cost to, like, put at least an Uro in your deck. Any plans for a Pack Rat deck? You can always see all of the decks we have coming up in the future in the deck queue on my website here. Today, I don't have deck lists linked for all the ones we're doing today because I didn't have the cards in the Arena client to build them. But normally, for the current day's deck lists and future ones, you'll see links in there. There are names of decks in there, though, at least. Yeah, Grixis Breach will probably play Pack Rat as an alternative alternative win con postboard. They draw Mystic Dispute here. Aether Gust, yeah, definitely topping that. I wonder if they'll Ghost Quarter me here to try and shuffle it away. Yeah, you always try to stay really organized around here if you're newer hero composes. You can always know what's coming up and when to expect it. You can also find a schedule on my website that tells you not only when I'm going to be live, but what formats I intend to stream on those days. They're still playing because they can still win this game. Yeah. Like, they're behind, but they're not just out of it. Is a reasonable land destruction deck with Ghost Quarter and Historic Crucible? Not reasonable, but it definitely exists. Miss Bitch, thanks for the 15 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Maybe I shouldn't play the Field of Dead because it encourages them to Ghost Quarter me. Will Magic ever print an Unexile card? Yeah, that already exists. Pull from Eternity, I believe is what it's called. Someone responded to my I was the only person at my polling place under 50 tweet with "This is why Joe Biden wins," and they missed the very critical key there that I might have been the only person under 50 at my polling place, but I'm also the only one I heard ask for the Democratic ballot. The rest of the people asked for the Republican primary ballot, which, you know, doesn't bode well for the general, but all right, little Tutu, I believe in you. Yes, Illinois is only Democratic because of Chicago and because of cities like Peoria. Mythic Invitational in May has been canceled. Imagine having a digital Magic client and instead of moving your tournament to being played remotely, you instead cancel it. Imagine if you come on a journey with me for a moment. And imagine where instead of moving your tournament to be an all digital tournament, you instead just cancel it. And just for comparison's sake, Hearthstone/Blizzard recently announced that their upcoming Masters Tour, or whatever it's called, is going to be held remotely. And for people that asked earlier why Wizards of the Coast doesn't respond to my tweets and I'm blacklisted, it's because I say things like that. That's the type of feedback that's considered not appropriate. We'll do Roller Dude. That'll get added when I'm all done here today. They canceled a bunch of upcoming Grand Prix, from my understanding. So unfortunately, this Blast Zone just dies to Ghost Quarter, but maybe I'm supposed to play this out just to bait this. This way my next Field of the Dead lives. So I expect we'll see Ghost Quarter happen here. But I'm also doing that so that way they don't kill my next Field of the Dead. Do I think 4 Yarok is the correct number in this deck? Yes. I don't think so, Caker. I don't think you can fit more basics without cutting utility lands. If you really wanted to be conservative, you could cut the cycle lands for basics, but like I'm playing 31 lands right now because 3 of them cycle. There's a big difference between Ghost Quarter and Field of Ruin. So 1, Ghost Quarter can Ghost Quarter basic lands. So if you recur this, you can fully destroy someone's lands. 2, Ghost Quarter does not replace itself. So when you Ghost Quarter your opponent, if your opponent has a basic, you're putting yourself down a land drop. Now, the very real upside here is that you doesn't have an activation cost to utilize it. That is an upside. Ashiok, it does not impact your own Ghost Quarter. Ashiok only stops you from searching with effects, only stops your opponent from searching with effects they control. The search on this is also optional. So for example, because I want to redraw this Risen Reef, I get to say decline here. Whereas Field of Ruin, you have to shuffle, even if you don't have a land to get. So very, very small nuances there. In my opinion, I think Field of Ruin is going to be the better card in this format overall. Did I miss? You definitely sent in Sultai Frog. Did I not bump it? You're totally right. I didn't bump it. All right, Sultai Frog is bumped. It'll probably be up tomorrow or the day after. There's a few decks at 39 points at this point. And people will bump things today, I'm sure. It has been, Burper. I've had a real good time so far today. All right, and there's Root Snare to save their Tamiyo. Again, like, my opponent doesn't have Nexus of Fate in their deck, though. So, like, even if they get going here, they could realistically deck out, right? They have 1 Brazen Borrower in their deck. We played against 2 Nexus decks out of like 6 or 7 matches. We'll see if this opinion changes as the format develops more. But in my opinion, I don't think these Nexus decks are actually good against the decks that I think are good in this format. Man, I get to exile a card from their graveyard here. I'm gonna take their Tamiyos. They can't just like Tamiyo, I guess. Yes, Remorse being able to kill Tamiyo is, or being able to discard through Tamiyo is great, because she said you can't discard spells. This is exiling. I'm playing Remorse rather than Thought Erasure in this deck, not just because of this, but also because it's a little bit easier to cast. Brazilian official who met with Trump Saturday at Mar-a-Lago test positive for coronavirus. Gosh. Well, at least the incredibly healthy, young, and vibrant Trump isn't in one of the high-risk category groups for this this pandemic. My last name is pronounced Hoagland with a long O sound. How many cards are in my deck? 42 to their 17. You'll often hear me on stream pronounce my last name as Hogland. That's self-deprecation. Yes, Remorse doesn't get targeted by dispute for 1 mana.
Those who cannot perceive beyond the veil of reality are lost. With thoughtfulness before action.
Okay. They're down to 15 cards. I don't think they can afford to plus Tameo again.
Seek and find.
Stroke would be quite absurd if it hit 3 or more. Wow, they plus this again. I wonder what their plan is to actually win the game from here. I guess they could theoretically hit us with Brazen Borrower still. Like, it takes 7 attacks at the moment. There wasn't a Thassa's or chat. We unmortigoed them. We know they only have Brazen Borrower. And they're at 4 minutes on their clock to my 20 minutes. They've used almost 3 times more clock than we have. Unless they have a win con we missed. Like, I looked over their deck twice. I don't think we missed anything. Forever, thank you for the content and continuity with MTG. Best streamer for Magic, no question. Thanks for the 1.5 years of support, Boulderbeard. I wouldn't be here without folks like you. Cast your fog. Come on. What are we tanking about here? Yeah, they have 3 minutes on their clock. They have 3 minutes and 10 seconds right now. I have 20 minutes and 2 seconds. Should have played for clock damage in game 2, something like that. I guess.
Let me aid your research.
Wait, what? There's only 9 cards in their deck, right? So, like, they literally just can't kill me with this? So they actually just can't win now, right? They might not even have enough time on the clock to take game actions to kill me. Yeah, I technically don't even need to take game actions, right? They just, like, can't win the game because they have 5 cards in their deck. They can only attack me for 15. Can't miss anything, right? Yeah, doesn't look like it. Psycho Land seemed like a good upgrade to their archetype too. Awesome to see almost 1,500 people in here for Historic, by the way. Everybody's staying safe in the world with everything that's going on. Glad to have you here as part of Hooglandia today. If you enjoy Historic, there's a ton of content for this format up on my website now. And there's going to be even more in the coming weeks. Planning to do 2 or more Historic decks per day. Today's going to be all Historic, but then tomorrow we're going to do 2. We're going to be doing 2 every day until interest wanes a little bit. So hopefully we'll keep doing 2 until... Oh, maybe I should have shocked this in to pay for Double Dispute. They could Aether Gust their own things. Okay. Hey, you know what's funny? This Yarok with this Thornwood Falls means they have to take an extra turn to kill me. Rajen, thank you for the brand new tier 1 sub. I appreciate that. Welcome to Hooglandia. Hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. No, I don't have links to the decks today because I had to build them in the client today because we didn't have the cards yet. So we'll just be like all the other streamers. You'll have to wait and see. It's a mystery. Ooh. This is gonna be our last match with the Yarok deck, and then we're gonna move on to the Abzan deck. They have 16 seconds on their clock. 14, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Six. Whee! This isn't the optimal way to stack these triggers. I should have used Cavalier triggers first to try and find Field of the Dead. Reach. Reach is great. Yeah, I feel like a little bit of a miss sideboarding there from the opponent. I think if you're playing the Nexus deck, you're supposed to default to boarding in extra win conditions in every blue-black matchup just because of the possibility of Unmoored Ego. This popped up like there was something new here, and this is not new. We saw Creepy Puppet Chase earlier. All right, Yarok Field. Chat, I am so excited to put this... All right, there we go. I am so excited to put this deck list back up on my website under the Historic section. I was so sad when they suspended Field of the Dead. And I really like that they unsuspended Field because, like, even Nexus of Fate 2, I like having this card in this format for the time being because I really feel like having this format have distinct cards from Pioneer is really, really great. So, as always, variety's the spice of life, so we're going to roll on into some Abzan adventures up here next. But we had someone cheer a bunch of bits to re-add this deck back to the queue tomorrow. So unless a bunch of things get bumped by a lot, we're going to play this one again tomorrow to start the Historic segment. I'm going to hit a quick ad roll while I get set up and get the client and everything restarted for the next one. When we get back, we're going to play a little bit of Abzan Adventures featuring the brand new Ranger of Eos from Historic Anthology 2. So we'll be back in just a few. Thanks for hanging out today, folks. Don't go anywhere. More Yarok! Will do, Chuki. Thanks for keeping me around.